पील रीजनल पुलिस की तरफ तो कम्युनिटी सेफ्टी वैलबींग स्ट्रैटेजी के तहत सेस साउथ एशियन कम्युनिटी इंगेजमेंट जो प्रोग्राम शुरू किया 2023 2023 एक साल पूरा होया है और काफ़ी कम्युनिटी ग्रुप्स उन्होंने कंसल्टेशन चली किहड़े इशूज़ है कम्युनिटीज़ के अंदर हारमनी कितना रहेगी हेट क्राइम को कितना एड्रैस करना है सारे के उपर जब सेस नू साउथ एशियन कम्युनिटी इंगेजमेंट नू एक साल पूरा होया तो अज जो इवेंट किया गया पील रीजनल पुलिस तो उन्होंने कहना है कि असी इन्नियां कंसल्टेशनस करने के बाद प्रोग्राम च होर की इंप्रूवमेंट कर सकते हैं और किद्दां दी स्ट्रैटेजी है जी कम्युनिटी की वैलबींग क्योंकि एक पुलिसिंग का पार्ट होंदा एक उहदे नाल इंगेजमेंट सो पुलिस इज़ इंगेजिंग विद द कम्युनिटी साउथ एशियन कम्युनिटी बिकॉज पील रीजन जिहड़ा हैगा ब्रैम्पटन मिसिसागा 40% तो ज़्यादा लोग जिहड़े है वो साउथ एशियन कहते अपने आप को साउथ एशियन है सो उन्हां दे अंदर जिहड़े इशूज़ है उन्होंने एड्रैस करने लई आज जो प्रोग्राम शुरू किया गया सीगा इंगेजमेंट का असी देखते हैं पूरी रिपोर्ट और चीफ मिनिस्टर का की कहना है ऊपर.
And the reason why we've done this is because, for example, here in Peel region, we have one of the most diverse racialized communities in North America, but of which we know that the largest population we have is South Asian. What we've done is spend a tremendous amount of time as part of this launch of the South Asian Community Engagement, we call it the SACE strategy here in Peel, which we unveiled today to several hundred people here at the Hilton in Mississauga to discuss about our learnings from over 60 consultations with about 120 community agencies and groups that from the South Asian community that have told us how they perceive the challenges and needs of serving the community from a public safety standpoint and from a well-being standpoint, from social issues. And the intent is to help change the way we serve the community. Can I tell you why that's more important here in Peel and why some of the communities I'm going to mention here in a few seconds is that the South Asian community is so large, the largest diaspora of South Asians, and we know that there are multiple South Asian communities are right here in Canada. And we have commonalities from here in Peel right to the lower mainland, the West Coast. And I'm pleased to be joined here behind me with a few of the representatives. And I must say we had about 15 to 16 police agencies right across Canada here with us today, participating in conversations and the presentation. Today was all about 1 year's experience of our South Asian Community Engagement team and their efforts to understand what the community needs. That has rolled into a framework which we here in Peel and we believe our friends and our peers across policing are going to draw and contribute to what is relevant for their particular communities as well. But what we're going to do here in Peel is launch this strategy. And this is a transferable framework to multiple other communities. We have made it structurally agnostic so that it applies to other demands and pressures that may occur from time to time. We plan on making sure the world knows that right here in Peel region, in Canada, east to west coast, that we are laser focused on making sure the community knows that they have the best model of public safety in the world.
Peel Regional Police, the Chief Minister, Chief, such a big initiative, such a good initiative because in policing, one is controlling the crime, the other is engaging with the communities. So far important, and what are the results is completing 1 year of SAFE?
Thank you, and you're absolutely right. I think people perceive or think of us as just responding to emergencies or responses, but we know that public trust and all the pressures we're seeing in the community have to be balanced with understanding the community's needs, because if we serve them in a way that doesn't meet their needs, then we're failing the community. And so what we discovered is, particularly after my arrival here, is of course with the largest South Asian diaspora outside of South Asia itself, right here in Canada, North America, right in Peel, is that there was a need for us to shift how we serve them. So, Deputy Chief Mark Andrews and I had multiple conversations in 2019, 2020 about what we can do. Not the uniform officers, the 911 call takers, the investigators, particularly everything that is occurring geopolitical in South Asia and here, but also second generation. We see youth, international students. You and I have talked about so many of the pressures. So all these things need for us to change how we deliver our service. And the first thing we did after, as you mentioned, 1 year of consultations with over 60 consultations, 120 different organizations and groups, is that we have developed a South Asian community engagement strategy. South Asian Communication Engagement Strategy, SACE. And that program is a framework that has 3 parts. One is we are shifting the way we serve the public in the service delivery. The second is we're going to spend time within the organization. As you know, we have officers from all walks of life, 3,600 members. We're going to build capacity within the organization for them to understand how to serve the community. And the third is to increase our engagement with the public. We know the mandirs, the temples, the community agencies, but there's so many groups, business communities that we have not met before. And so we're going to increase our engagement. And that is all as a result of 1 year's worth of listening to the community. And now we are launching today a SACE. But the other element, Nitin, is we brought not the community members in today, but we also brought our policing partners, some from Lower Mainland BC that have similar issues in the community or needs in the community, right from Ontario, the Prairie provinces, because our goal is we want to be an example here in Peel Region, how we serve the community, to let not just Canada know, internationally know how we can do better for serving a South Asian community.
Chief, we know that your vision, Deputy Chief Mark Andrews also told that Chief Mish has a vision for this region. And without technology, that is not possible.
Agreed.
And you are the one who is in technology day by day. And recently we heard that Peel Police will have a centralized bureau where the online complaints can be addressed, including the hate-motivated crimes. Previously, those were missing because many reports we got that online complaints were there. The people, they had the complaint numbers, but they were hardly addressed because police were busy in other top priorities also. This is also a good issue.
It is good. It is an example of one of the many initiatives. Today, you and I can sign for our mortgage on our iPad, sitting on our couch at home, on a chair at home. But for people not to be able to make a report online is, and we had the ability of doing it before, but what's happened now is we've expanded it to include more opportunities, including hate crimes, because now we know there are hate incidents which don't meet the threshold of a crime, but we treat them just as important. And some people, for lots of reasons, may not feel comfortable phoning us or calling us. So we're trying to make it easy. You can do it in multi-language and you can do it online. But technology is a platform for us to do better. We have, of course, body cameras. We now have the ability to link into the city's CCTV cameras to come into a 911 communication. We can live stream. We have a drone technology, automated license plate readers. Our officers have mobile phones. They can. We're now going to start doing electronic note taking. So technology will allow us to serve the community better. It is a vehicle for making things better here.
And what next in the technology, what you want to implement, which is hard there now?
The
evolution or biometrics?
Yes, the next step is to use technology that's not new, but artificial intelligence, and it can be used through facial recognition or other ways, is a valuable tool for us. What we've learned, very similar to this initiative today, the SACE, is that we want to spend time with the community so they can tell us what their concerns are before we use the tools. So we have done many months of consultations, and we'll be proceeding with policies that are community-driven to use artificial intelligence, even for the recognition of a vehicle or matching photos of a suspect, or even to listen to language. If somebody's calling 911, we can discern it's not an emergency, this is an emergency. We can save time from people waiting on 911. So that's all coming.
So, Chief, final question. Many people, they come here, they commit the crime and they flow back to the other countries. how Peel Police interacted with other different regional, different countries' police, so that the criminal crime has happened on this south and they flow back to the other countries. And also we have seen many incidents of this nature. So what is police action or collaboration with other agencies?
So the thankful thing is today we had representation from the RCMP, O Division, and Interpol, which we are now working very closely with as it relates to not just property crimes that go and funds that go overseas, but also individuals. So we have a very close working relationship. But that is obviously a big concern for us, the ability for people to commit a crime and leave. Sometimes it might be a violent incident and they go back to a foreign country. We have to work through all our bilateral agreements with these international entities. But I can tell you that I have never seen the strength of our ability to work internationally as close as it is now as it did 5 years, 15, 20 years ago. For me, it's my 30th year now, and it is better than it had been ever, but there's always more to be done.
So unchecked immigration is one of the reason also, because when any person enter here and their criminal backgrounds are not checked, we don't know whether that person has a criminal background or not. So later on, when any crime has happened, then police come to know that this person had a criminal background from back home. So those are the challenges in front of police, and federal government need to act on those.
Well, there are lots of challenges. We see it regularly with the inability to examine documentation in other countries. But, you know, these are other areas which I know our dialogue with the federal government has been continuing with how we can strengthen our international connectivity with the sharing of information intelligence. Absolutely, there's more to be done for sure.
And for the bail reforms also, final words, you spoke many times on.
Yes, so, you know, bail reforms, we still need a continued movement in that space. A lot was done initially, but we still see violent offenders. I can tell you almost every violent offender with the firearms arrested here is at some point back out on bail. And then we're also seeing other crimes that aren't violent, but maybe auto theft, the repeated release. So that is a continued space that we in policing continue to be frustrated with, but want to see more movement.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, and
thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Peel Police Board Vice Chair Sumita Kolinala, how important this initiative is, and how board is supporting the Peel Regional Police for these kind of initiatives?
So this is an extremely important initiative. It's actually first of its kind. Pehli baar aaj launch hoya hai. And as you have heard already, it's been really the vision of Chief Duriyappa and really making sure that we are connected and engaged with the South Asian community. Our officers and the SACE team, as it's called shortly, have spent over a year meeting with over 100 organizations within the community to really understand, I would say, the top 7, concerns and issues, and listening to that turned into a blueprint or framework that's going to be then implemented as we move forward. It's first of its kind because we were supported by many organizations from across Canada who also came down, policing organizations, and we're truly grateful for that support. And for the board, really, I think we're so proud of our officers and the initiatives that go on at Peel Police. When we say community safety and well-being, the chief and their team really take that to heart, and it's really critical for us to be understanding what our community wants, how do we engage with them, and really being there to support them in the right way.
Is whatever the demands are of the Peel Police, is board fulfilling all those, or there are few which board says, okay, we have to think, or you are giving full budget and full resources to the Peel Police?
So really everything that's built is a joint effort, right? Because really the needs come in, it goes into a larger strat plan. In fact, we built our strategic plan now for the next 4 years. So that works as a team. It's built from, one is community feedback, feeds into the police. That's built into a plan that ultimately goes into a board plan. And I think, from our perspective, we do everything possible to make sure that we're providing all the tools necessary for Peel Police to do the best job possible for Peel Region. As you know, we have a very large region, a region which is very different from many others across Canada. And our job's to be there to support the region at the same time in a role of governance to ensure that, everything that's laid out from a strategic plan is being followed. And I think, hopefully you as a community can see that things are moving in the right direction. Today is a really good example of things that this organization is doing to make sure that they're doing everything possible for the community.
British Columbia ਦੇ ਡੈਲਟਾ ਤੋਂ ਡਿਪਟੀ ਚੀਫ ਹਰਜ ਸਿੱਧੂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ. ਡਿਪਟੀ, how you see the crime rate, because across the Canada, British Columbia, Abbotsford, Brampton, Mississauga, dominated by the South Asian community, and crime rate in these places is on a high. What is the main reason?
I think crime rate is high. I'm among the South Asian community. Crime is high everywhere. If you talk stolen autos, you talk other crime. Obviously, upon the South Asian community, the gang violence काफ़ी अपना हैगा. मैंने 29 साल हो गया करदे नू जो शुरू होया दसांज बिंदी जो आ सारा BC शुरू होया सी. So last the 10 ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ 15 ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ across the country वो हो गया ते Brampton. Obviously, Brampton Delta city ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈਗਾ, so very large South Asian population. So I think some of the crime issues are related to people getting mixed with the wrong groups, right? I think our community, again, newcomers, hardworking, busy working, don't have the time to spend with the children, and and then it's too late. Their kid is not going to school or dropping out or staying out late or involved in wrong crime. Now it's almost too late to try to get them out of it. So we're really promoting early on, stay engaged with your children, know what they're doing, spend that time with them. And, you know, our community is hardworking and we want to get ahead. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is the legacy we leave of our children. I think we have to do a real better job on focusing on that.
So, har 14 minutes ek gaddi chori hundi hai. And we see that we are into revolving doors.
Yeah.
Criminal bar aa jande hai. Ki British Columbia ch bhi ਏਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੀਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਚੋਰੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ?
Yeah, so ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁਣ ਆਟੋ ਥੈਫਟ ਅਤੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਪਰ ਉਦੋਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖਿਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੇ ਚੋਰੀਆਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਮੌਂਟਰੀਅਲ ਦੇ ਪੋਰਟ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਹੁਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਨੀਸ਼ੀਏਟਿਵ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ. ਹੁਣ 2 ਵੀਕਾਂ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਡੈਲਟਾ 'ਚ ਵੱਡਾ ਪੋਰਟ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉੱਤੇ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਟੇਨਰ ਲੱਭਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ 15-16 ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ. ਸੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਡੈਲਟਾ ਏਰੀਆ 'ਚ ਹੁਣ ਲਾਸਟ ਮੰਥ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਕਾਫੀ ਕਾਰਾਂ ਵੀ ਚੋਰ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ. ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਏ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਮਨੀ ਵੱਧਦੇ, ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਟਾ ਦਿਓ ਉਹ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਚੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ. ਸੋ ਵੀਰ ਸੀਇੰਗ ਦ ਸੇਮ ਟ੍ਰੈਂਡ in British Columbia.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਿਪੀਟਡ ਅਫੈਂਡਰਸ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਸਖਤ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਸਲਾਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਿਪੀਟਡ ਅਫੈਂਡਰਸ ਹੀ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ, BC 'ਚ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟ ਸੇਮ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈਗਾ. ਇਹ ਕਰਲਾ Ontario ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ, BC ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਹ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੈਗੀ. ਸੋ ਤਾਨੀ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਆਈ ਕਿ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਕੇਨ ਬੇਲ ਰਿਫਾਰਮ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਮਿਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਬੇਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਦਰ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਰੱਖਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਕੌਨਸੀਕੁਐਂਸ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਆ ਕੇ ਸੇਮ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਣਾ. ਸੋ ਵੀ ਨੀਡ ਟੂ ਮੇਕ ਸ਼ੋਰ that we have proper bail reform for ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਟ ਰਿਪੀਟ ਅਫੈਂਡਰ ਹੈਗੇ.
ਜਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਇੰਗੇਜ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਬੜੀ ਫੀਡਬੈਕ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕੁਝ ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ 4-5 ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਰੇਟ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ, ਰਿਪੋਰਟਸ ਵੀ ਕਾਫੀ ਆਈਆਂ, ਕਾਫੀ ਵਾਇਰਲ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ. ਉਹਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਕਾਰਨ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਅਨਚੈਕਡ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ. ਕਾਫੀ ਲੋਕ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਟਰੀ 'ਚ ਐਂਟਰ ਹੋਏ ਹੈ ਐਜ਼ ਦਾ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟਰ ਜਾਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਰਿਫਿਊਜੀ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਬੈਡ ਐਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਵੀ ਐਂਟਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. ਇਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਫੋਰਸ ਕੀ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਅਲਰਟ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਜਦ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੈੱਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਕੋਲ ਤਾਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ ਜਦ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਕਰੋਗੇ. ਸੋ ਇਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਕੀ ਸਟੈਪ ਕਰ?
So obviously immigration federal ਹੈਗਾ, so it's a national federal mandate. ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਦੇ, but I do believe ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ national immigration strategy ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਦੇ. ਹੁਣ ਲੋਕੀ ਅੰਦਰ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ, ਫਿਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ, ਫਿਰ ਲੋਕਲ ਪੁਲਿਸ now trying to make those connections. So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਿਊਜ਼ੀਲੈਂਡ ਵੇਖ ਲਓ, they have a national model of immigration. ਜਦੋਂ new immigrants ਨੂੰ proper background check ਕਰਦੇ, ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਕਰਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਅਤੇ law ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਕੀ ਹੈਗੇ, what rights they have, plus also what they're expected to do.
So ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਡਾ ਚੈਲੰਜ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਦ ਨਵੇਂ ਐਂਟਰ ਕਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਬੈਕਗ੍ਰਾਉਂਡ ਚੈੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਜਦ ਸਾਲ 2 ਸੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਰਿਕਾਰਡ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ.
It is big challenge for police, but I want to make sure that it's a small percentage, right? The majority of the people are coming here to make a better life for themselves, but there is that small minority that in there that may have a bad background, and we need to do those checks and make sure they're done properly because you know what, it's very hard now to try to play catch up.
So great initiative, engaging with the community. So same thing, same kind of event is happening in British Columbia?
Oh, absolutely. So ਜਦੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਈ ਕਿ ਉਤੇ ਜਿਵੇਂ BC 'ਚ almost a generation ahead ਹੈਗੇ, and so lessons learned, ਅਸੀਂ good ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ, ਕੀ bad ਕੀਤਾ, but I think at the end of the day, obviously, serve community. We all have diverse communities, and it's so important that we have that engagement, understand what our community's needs are. The conferences, 80% of ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਾਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਉਹ criminal related ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹੱਥ ਕਰਕੇ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ situation solve ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ. Community partner ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਜੇ mental health, addictions, poverty, international student vehicle, all the challenge they have. We have to work with our community to address those issues, and the police can't do it alone.
Officer Sidhu, ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ because ਇੱਕ ਪੁਲਿਸ officer ਵੀ ਇੱਕ human ਹੈ, and ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਰਿਪੋਰਟਸ ਆਈਆਂ ਕਿ ਜਦ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਅਫਸਰ ਇੱਕ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਕੈਚ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ and he wants ਕਿ it should be bring in front of the justice, ਲੇਕਿਨ same criminal ਅਗਰ 6-7 ਵਾਰ ਉਸੇ crime ਲਈ arrest ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, how a officer feel? Because when he catches, he is putting his life on risk. But on the other day, next day he see he's out. So ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਅਫਸਰ ਦਾ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ as a deputy chief for you went with that thing.
Obviously, political practice, our job is to arrest the people. Court and the job is to prosecute. We bring the best evidence forward. That's all we can control. Yes, we're human. Could it be frustrating, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਾ hard work ਕੀਤਾ, evidence ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ, and then maybe there's not the consequences that people were looking for? That can get frustrating, to be honest, but we can't control that. So that is, again, now for the community organizations to deal with their politicians, to deal with government, to make sure there's proper bail reform. Again, we don't want to keep everybody in jail. I think some people, they can get treatment, and I always say like 80% of our stuff, crime we commit, it's a survival crime. They don't have enough food to eat. Drug addiction, so we got to solve what those issues are and but that comes, we need the resources and the program. That's the problem we're having in BC right now. We had decriminalization kita for opioids. They've just started changing a bit of that. The biggest issue was we're supportive, but you have to have the resources to get people into care if that's what they want. And if you don't have that, then decriminalization, those things don't matter at all.
Okay, thank you, Deputy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have police officer from the Abbotsford, British Columbia. So officer, what you want to say about this initiative, which is the South Asian Community Engagement? It's completed 1 year. So how effective it is?
Yeah, I think this is a fantastic initiative. We were fortunate enough to be able to host Peel Regional when they came out west last year in June, to have conversations with a variety of Lower Mainland agencies about our experiences, some of our initiatives that we have developed with respect to our South Asian community, and to share some of the successes and failures and how we've overcome that. So being here today as a guest and being invited out to see the final product of all the hard work that they've put in over the last year and a half has been absolutely fabulous. I have full, they have my full support on having success for this. They've created an excellent strategy, and I look forward to the community to being able to receive this partnership with Peel.
So in the Peel region, like Brampton, Mississauga, and same thing in the Surrey and Abbotsford, mostly 50%, more than 50% population is a South Asian population. And we have seen the crime rate has gone up in Canada across these regions also. So this is also one of the great initiatives by people is by engaging the communities, listening to their concerns, and resolving that. So how important is that for the communities?
It's very important to have that relationship with your police, to be able to get to the grassroots of exactly what is important to them and how we as a police organization can help engage them to ensure their safety and the future safety of the communities that we serve.
So what is the reason you see that the crime rate has gone up? Any reason, particular reason, or few of the reason you can mention?
I don't think there's any one specific reason. It's like, I mean, there's a lot of diverse things that are happening in our community. There's a lot of changes. I think the best thing we can do as police agencies is to recognize when those changes are coming, to engage with the community, to develop strategies to better keep the community safe, specific to what's happening. It is always changing and it will always be evolving, and having those partnerships and creating that is the first step forward to making sure we do it right moving forward.
So this unchecked immigration is also one of the reasons, because unchecked immigration for last so many years, because we have the international people here either on a study or a visitor, and we have seen that their criminal backgrounds are not checked, and that is one of the challenge for the police forces also when they enter the country. country and their criminal records are not checked?
Yeah, I can't really speak to that because that's an immigration process. So I can't really give comment to that.
So, Officer Dillon, if I start with you, how important this engagement, pull us with the community, is this program?
I think so. This engagement was very important. It was about us listening and hearing from the community what their needs were for us to be able to do the culturally responsive services to support the community.
Like, what is the result? Because it started, the SAY started 2023 and we are into 1 year completion. What are the results in 1 year, the positive results, and what are the challenges further which need to be addressed more?
So during that year that you referenced, it's really a time for us to engage and talk to our community, because we really wanted this to be fun that wasn't driven by people pleased. We wanted to be something that was fully collaborative with our community and with our partners. So over that time, there was more than 120 community engagements were conducted. It's really shaped the framework, and the key outcome is a framework for how we're going to provide culturally responsive service to the community. And one of those big outcomes that was announced today is a cross-functional team, which will be a dedicated team to strengthen how we engage and serve our South Asian community.
Officer Dillon, how many organizations were there who attended this SAYS?
We had numerous organizations there today for the summit, and some of them couldn't make it. Again, as my colleague John had mentioned, we did over 120 consultations. We also held open town hall sessions that were open to the entire public. We engaged with an independent third-party company that held focus group sessions and put a survey out to the community. Truly what we were trying to do is garner a broad understanding of the needs of our South Asian community. And in doing that, we know that the work's not done. We know that we've gotten what the needs are today, but the needs will change tomorrow. And there may be some members of the community that we haven't heard from. So we have, like John has mentioned, we've dedicated a team now to be a resource to our organization, but also to be conduit with the community to ensure as the needs change or if additional needs come in, that gets passed on through the team, and then we'll address our service to delivery to better support our community.
So hate crime is also one of the main challenge or main issue, hate crime between the communities on some political issues across the globe. So then we see the effects here. So is that being addressed in these kind of summits?
So one of the presentations today was actually from our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Unit, Inspector Faraj Ismail, who's our expert on hate crimes. And one of the pieces we've done around hate crime is really engage the community. Similar to what we talked about today, we've recently brought together a group of about 20 different community partners. This has developed a community-led approach to hate crime engagement and education. Because one of the things we find with hate crime here in Peel and right across the country is that it's very much underreported. So the message we're trying to get out there by bringing communities together to work with us on this is to report, because if it's not reported, we don't know about it. And we want to be there to support our communities and make sure that they know that hate won't be tolerated in any of its forms. And if they are a victim of hate crime, we are here to support them.
Officer Dillon, many times it has been seen that victims, they don't come forward. And we have to evaluate what is the reason why don't they come forward. One of the reason when we talk to some of the victims is they are scared that those who are the repeated offenders, they are already out. So if we come forward as a victim, we may be harmed. We may be attacked again. So what police is doing to address that issues so that victims can come forward, report it? We have seen in cases of extortions also.
Thanks, sir. And we're doing a lot in that space. We're talking about bail reform, advocating for different things in that space. From the perspective of our victims, we want our community to know that we are here to support them. If anyone feels like they're being threatened, if anyone feels unsafe, we want them to connect with the police so that we can make sure that they have the support that they require. I want to add one piece to that is that we heard from the community during this engagement, and what we heard was, when we had these incidents and sometimes hate crime incidents that happened at places of worship, the impact that had at a place of worship versus, let's say an incident on the roadway, well, that impact on the roadway is just impacting one individual. The impact at the place of worship is impacting the entire congregation and in fact the entire community. So we've actually changed our prioritization. When you call 911, there'll be a higher prioritization for having our officers attend. We'll get our officers there quickly, provide the support that's required, deal with what they need to deal with, and provide the reassurance that's required.
So you and I add on to this because victims, they don't come forward because they are scared that the extortionists or other criminals, they are already out on bail. So they may harm them again if they come forward to the media or to the police. So what message you want to give to the victims?
As the superintendent said, we certainly take steps to advocate our position on bail reform. We want people to feel comfortable coming forward to police. And a big part of what we're doing here with the South Asian engagement strategy is trying to build that collaboration and trust so people do feel comfortable coming forward and know that they will be supported when they do that.
Thank you very much.
I can add one point to that.
Sure.
Okay. So in relation to the extortion that you mentioned and the victimization, we've dedicated resources. We have an extortion task force team that is dealing with them right now. And we are sure we want victims to know that they can come forward, that they'll be safe, and that we'll be able to deal with these investigations or prosecuting it, as well as supporting our victims.
Thank you very much. Thank you. City of Brampton ਦੇ ਡਿਪਟੀ ਮੇਅਰ ਹਰਕੀਰਤ ਜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੀ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੰਗੇਜ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਫੋਰਸਿਸ ਦਾ ਹਾਊ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਇਜ਼ ਇਟ?
ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈ। ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਫੋਰਸ ਦੇ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਮਿਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਆ। ਸੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਰੀਜਨਲ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਧਾਈਆਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਇਨੀਸ਼ੀਏਟਿਵ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ।
ਸੋ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਰੇਟ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਗ੍ਰਾਫ ਕਾਫੀ ਹਾਈ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਪੀਲ ਰੀਜਨ ਤਦੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਫਿਸਰਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਐਬਸਫੋਰਡ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਸਰੀ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਆਏ ਆ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਥੀਸ ਟੂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਔਰ ਪਲੇਸਿਸ ਆਰ ਡੋਮੀਨੇਟਡ ਬਾਈ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਬਾਈ ਕੀ ਕਾਰਨ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਰੇਟ ਇੰਨਾ ਵਧਿਆ?
You know, there's a few factors when ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ extortion auto theft the last couple of years and extortion last couple of months ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਧ ਗਏ ਆ। ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਈ specific case domestic violence or mental health ਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ ਇਹ ਹਰੇਕ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਕਰਦਾ ਪਰ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਜਨਰਲੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਦੈਟਸ ਵਾਈ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇੰਗੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਆ ਬਹੁਤ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਨਿਕਲੂਗਾ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੰਡਰਸਟੈਂਡ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਆ ਕੀ ਆ। ਸੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਮਿਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੇਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੇਕ ਹੋਲਡਰਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਸਾਡੇ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਏਜੰਸੀ ਰਿਲੀਜੀਅਸ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਸੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੱਖਰੇ ਫੈਸਟਸ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ।
ਸੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਰਿਪੀਟਡ ਅਫੈਂਡਰਸ ਹੈ ਗੱਡੀਆਂ ਚੋਰੀ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜਾਂ ਬਾਕੀ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ 'ਚ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਆਊਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਿਕਟਿਮਸ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਦੇ ਆਰ ਸਕੇਅਰਡ। ਸੋ ਟਫਰ ਪੈਨਲਟੀਜ਼ ਹੋਣੀਆਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਰਿਪੀਟਡ ਅਫੈਂਡਰਸ ਨੂੰ।
100% ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਇੱਕ ਫਾਈਲ ਆ ਜਿਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਿੰਸ਼ਲ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਰੋਲ ਐਂਡ ਇਟਸ ਲਾਈਕ ਮਿਕਸਡ ਅਪ। ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੇਲ ਰਿਫੋਰਮ ਆ ਉਹ ਹੈਗਾ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੈਰੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਆ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੇਲ ਰਿਫੋਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਆਈ ਨੋ ਯੂ ਗੋ ਟੂ ਐਵਰੀ ਸਿੰਗਲ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਕਿ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਰੈਸਟ ਕਰਦੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਉਹ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਡੇ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਵੀ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ।
ਹਰਕੀਰਤ ਜੀ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਰਿਪੋਰਟਸ ਆਈਆਂ ਕਿ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕੁਝ ਸਾਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਅਨਚੈਕਡ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਰਹੀ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਐਂਟਰ ਕਰਦਾ ਕੰਟਰੀ 'ਚ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦਾ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਚੈੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ। ਸੋ ਬੈਡ ਐਲੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਵੀ ਵੱਧ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਗੁੱਡ ਐਲੀਮੈਂਟਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਉਹ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈ?
ਸੋ ਉਹ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਲਾਸਟ ਫਿਊ ਮੰਥਸ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਹ ਹਾਈਲਾਈਟ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਰੈਸਟਡ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਆਟੋ ਥੈਫਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਐਕਸਟੋਰਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਸੀਗਾ। ਸੋ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੋਰਡਰਸ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਕਿਉਰ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਡਿਊ ਡਿਲੀਜੈਂਸ ਕਰਨੀ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਵੈਰੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਫॉर ਠੀਕ।
Thank you and best wishes for this good initiative by people.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ summit ਤੇ ਆਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਤਾਂ I want to say that it was a very remarkable event, first of a kind Canada ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ and worldwide। ਤਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਗੇਜ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਓਵਰ ਅ ਈਅਰ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਲੋਕਲ ਏਜੰਸੀਜ਼ ਨਾਲ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਮੰਦਰਸ ਈਵਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਿਸ ਫਿਊਨਰਲ ਹੋਮ ਵਰਗਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਨਸਾਈਟ ਪੁੱਛੀ ਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੀ ਓਪੀਨੀਅਨਸ ਆ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਵਾਲੇ। ਸੋ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਿਊਨਰਲ ਹੋਮ 'ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਮੌਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਐਵਰੀ ਮੰਥ 5 or 10 ਅਨਫੋਰਚੂਨੇਟਲੀ young students ਅਸੀਂ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਭੇਜੀਦੇ ਆ from drownings to overdoses suicide ਜੋ ਵੀ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਰਾਈਟ। ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਓਪਰਚੁਨਿਟੀ ਸੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਸਮਝਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ। ਸੋ ਫਰੋਮ ਆਰ ਸਾਈਡ ਦੈਟ ਵਾਜ਼ ਇੰਗੇਜ ਵਿਦ ਹੋਰ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਸੀ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਲਾਈਕ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਹੈਲਥ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਸੋਚ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ in this a lot of different organizations were here ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਣ ਬਹੁਤ ਐਕਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੱਜ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਅਕੋਮਪਲਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਇੰਸਟੈਡ ਆਫ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਗੋਇੰਗ ਐਵਰੀਵੇਅਰ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਬੀਇੰਗ ਦ ਫਰੰਟ ਲਾਈਨ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਪਾਰਟ ਟੇਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ 80% ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਾਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਦੇਰ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਨਾਟ ਐਮਰਜੈਂਸੀ ਕਾਲਸ ਕੋਈ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਟ ਕੇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਮਟਾਈਮਸ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਐਡਿਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਦੀ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਹੋਵੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗਵਾਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਰੋਡ ਤੇ ਘਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਸੋ ਦੇयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਇਨ ਦ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਲੋਕਲ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੈਟਰ ਅੰਡਰਸਟੈਂਡ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਬੋਲ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਕੈਨ ਹੈਲਪ them ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਲੀ ਬੈਟਰ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੋਗਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਆਪਾਂ we are complaining about auto theft ਆਪਾਂ home invasions ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ police can be available for those things so I would just like to say that a बहुत important initiative है जो PO police ने किया it's a first of its kind and I congratulate them on this thank you
ਮਨਵੀਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਦੱਸੋਗੇ ਔਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਨੀਸ਼ੀਏਟਿਵ ਪੀਲ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਇਫੈਕਟ
ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸੋ ਲਾਡਲੀਆਂ ਇੱਕ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਆ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ 10 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਲਾਡਲੀਆਂ ਧੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮਸ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੋਪ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਗੇਜਮੈਂਟ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਥਰੂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਧਾ ਸਕੀਏ ਤੇ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਸਕੀਏ ਕਿ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਪੀਓ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਨੇ ਸੱਦਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਕੰਸਲਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆ ਕੇ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਸਲਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਸਕੇ ਤੇ ਦੇਖ ਸਕੇ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਐਕਸਾਈਟਡ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰ ਸਕੀਏ ਪੀਓ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੀ
ਮਨਵੀਰ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਲਾਡਲੀਆਂ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਨਾਮ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਜਾਣ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਟੂ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਦ ਵੂਮਨ ਐਂਡ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਦ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਐਂਡ ਆਲ ਕਲਚਰਲ ਵੂਮਨ ਸੋ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਡੋਮੈਸਟਿਕ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਦਾ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੱਚੀਆਂ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਬੜੇ ਟੈਪ 'ਚ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਆਈ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਾਇਓਰਟੀ 'ਤੇ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ
ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਐਂਡ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਨੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਆਬਵੀਅਸਲੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਹੈ ਜੈਂਡਰ ਬੇਸਡ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਸ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੋਰਨ ਲੇਡੀਜ਼ ਨੇ ਬੇਟੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਚਾਹੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਈਮੇਲਸ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਾਲਸ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਸੈਕੰਡਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਆ ਉਹ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਸੈਕਸ਼ੂਅਲ ਐਕਸਪਲੋਇਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਆਫ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਪੈਸੀਫਿਕਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਫੀਮੇਲ ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਧੱਕਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਲਈ ਕਾਫੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੈਕਸ਼ੂਅਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਮੈਂਟਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਇਨ ਜਨਰਲ ਹੈਲਥ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਗਰਲਸ ਐਂਡ ਵੂਮਨ ਆਫ ਆਲ ਏਜਸ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਇਓਰਟਾਈਜ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਨਰਲੀ ਘਰੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਓਪਨਲੀ